Good morning, everybody. Good morning and welcome to the 3 a.m. Knitter podcast, episode number 5. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first time joining me here on a Sunday morning, welcome, and thank you for checking me out. And if you are coming back, thank you so much. I have just been really enjoying looking at all your comments, and it's just such a thrill for me when you guys watch and comment, and some of you are sending me emails and things like that, and it's just been so much fun. And so I thank you very much for that, because that really makes this so much easier. So to get some of the housekeeping out of the way before we dig in, you can find me on Instagram as 3am Knitter. Email is 3amknitter@gmail.com. And if you need to snail mail me, I've had a lot of requests for my shipping address. You can find that down below in the comments. It's down there for you. And exciting news that later on in the episode, I'll be inserting the first segment of the power of sticks and strings. So this is a really intriguing chat that I had with Dr. Shona Johnston, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about her story and about how she's used knitting to help her through grief. So I hope that you enjoy that, and there will be more episodes of the power of sticks and strings coming in further episodes of the 3 a.m. Knitter podcast. So watch out for those. So I will also include down below all of Dr. Johnston's contact information. So if you are interested in touching base with her or checking her out in more detail, you can do so by following any of the links that I provide to you down below. Let's see, what else do I have to tell you? Yes, exciting news for me. I have been selected to be one of the workshop presenters at the PEI Fibre Festival. So bear with me just a sec. For those of you who are in the know, the PEI Fibre Festival is this year on PEI in Charlottetown, October 5th to 7th. And I will be teaching a 3-dimensional weaving class. So if you're in the area or you are attending the PEI Fibre Festival, I encourage you to check out all of the amazing workshop teachers. There's going to be some really great ones. So I am just so looking forward to that in the fall. And I hope that that if you're in the area, you'll come out to the Fibre Festival. So my absolute dream come true about going to this particular Fibre Festival is that I will have an opportunity to meet the Cabin Boy Knits. Oh, I'm so excited. So anyhow, stay tuned for more information on that. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see some teasers and things like that coming up for that fall festival. So really looking forward to getting back to going to festivals like this again. You know, I've been to Maryland and Rhinebeck and things like that a number of times, but being able to participate in Canadian festivals and support Canadian makers is my passion. So this is going to be great. So I hope to see you at the PEI Fibre Festival in the fall. All right. So, excuse me, sorry. So let's get on with what I'm wearing. All right. Now, I was going to wear this. Okay. So, but you can see that I didn't, you know, and I think I did this last episode as well. But so this here is the beautiful Fir Trees Cowl. And it's, you know, it's just a nice little pop over your head cowl. It's got a straight edge, and then, whoops, this edge is a little bit, you know, scalloped, right? So you could wear it either way. This is a project that I knit quite some time ago. I read it. It's Sunday morning, sorry. I knit it for my venture to Rhinebeck 2013, when my BFF Lyanne and I are the ones that go to all of these Fibre festivals together. So we were heading to Rhinebeck in 2013, and this was the cowl that I knit up. So this is a pattern by Marley Bird, Fir Trees Cowl, as I say, and I knit it in Bijou Spun by Bijou Basin Ranch. So this is it's a discontinued yarn, unfortunately, but it's 95% Angora and 5% rayon viscose. And look at that. Ooh. I bought it because, you know, generally these kind of deep red tones are not my thing, but this has got kind of a black red kind of undertone. Let's see. I bought it at, oh, that's interesting. I bought it at Rhinebeck in 2012. Huh. So I finished it. Wow, I knit this fast. You know, when you think about the opposite sides of your knitting journey. So I've got this Whip Mountain where I've had stuff in here forever and ever. This thing I knit in 2 days, maybe 3 days. August 31st, I cast it on, and September 2nd, I finished it. So go me. So I used 4.5 needles. I used half a skein, so 217.5 yards or 198.9 meters. Yeah, so this pattern, oh, unfortunately it says here that the digital pattern is no longer available. That's unfortunate. Huh. I do have another ball of this in my stash in gray, silver gray. So I think I have the pattern somewhere. So I might just knit this up again myself, or for myself again for this winter. But I was going to wear it today, but then I was so excited to wear my next project that I'm going to share with you and it didn't match. So, you know, I had to match. So I am happy to tell you that I finished my Whip Mountain Inamorata top. And I think I figured out the yarn. So because this is a summer top, sorry, I'm just going to swing you around. I wore it today with a little bit of a cardi. So I'll just take it off so you can see the whole thing here. Whoops. All right. So the straps are done in reverse stockinette, little buttons at the top. I still need to do a bit of blocking on it, but you can see that it's nice and flowy. The back is gathered here, covers my bum, which makes me happy. A little bit of buttons here that need to be blocked a bit, and this needs to be blocked a bit. I opted to sew the button right through both straps so they don't undo. The pattern calls for creating a buttonhole and adding the button that way, but yeah, that's not my jam. So I'm super happy with the fit. I'm surprised that it ended up fitting so well after all this time, but there it is. So this is, of course, as I mentioned last time we were together, the Inamorata Tee by Mercedes Tarasovich, and it's a free pattern. I got it on knitty.com, but it looks like, oh, actually on Ravelry, it gives you a link to knitty.com. So there's the Ravelry page right there. Yeah. So I don't have a Ravelry project page for this. So I'm kind of disappointed about that because I forgot a lot about this. But when I was having a knit night on Friday night with my BFF Lyanne, she said to me, Anne, that's Lisa Souza yarn that we bought. And so I went and I checked out Lisa Souza. Now, I can't find the exact colorway, but I do believe that this was Lisa Souza Timaru, which was 65% wool merino and 35% rayon from bamboo. I think that that is the colorway because, oh, just a minute, because I have other Lisa Souzas in that colorway. And I think I bought them together. So, yeah, so the yardage on the skeins that I would have bought, 457 meters or 500 yards, 100 grams. Superwash semi-solid, silky soft light fingering, which makes sense. And you can knit it to a soft gauge for garments that you want the look. Or you can use it for luxurious, delicious, luxurious socks. Ooh. Anyway, so I think that that indeed is the yarn, the Lisa Souza Timaru? I don't know if I said that right. Anyway, so thank you, Lyanne, for reminding me about that because I could not for the life of me remember. So that brings up another thing. Make project pages or keep a knitting journal or something because really, you know, like I have this beautiful new top and I couldn't remember any of the details about it. So there it is. So that's what I'm wearing today. Super happy because it's another finished object out of Whip Mountain. So that makes me very, very happy. Alrighty. So current whips. So I just last night casted on just a pair of vanilla socks, and you'll understand why a little bit later. So, you know, I literally have only, you know, part of the ribbing done using my Chigu needles because, you know, they're the best. And I'm just using some Stash Kroy FX. This is a great yarn because I'm knitting these for my mom as part of the you know, 12 pairs of socks this year for her. This is in the Cascade colorway, so kind of fits in with the you know, the Nova Scotia theme, if you will. So that's kind of going to be my go-to. I just need a break knitting based on some of the projects that I have coming up, because I do have a couple of, you know, more intense projects coming up. Now, I did knit another square of my 2023 mini blanket, but of course I forgot it downstairs in the bag by my chair. So I'll post it on Instagram. So if you want to see it, you can. You know, you'll remember that that's that oblong blanket that I'm making where I have the squares with the 2 bands of white on the outside and the color on the inside. And it's just garter stitch, and I'm using leftover minis and stash and things like that to build that. And I'll just work on that from time to time. It's a really great project to take to knit night because it's just garter. It's like 44 stitches or something. Free pattern on Ravelry. So search that out. And I've talked about it in previous episodes. So if you want to search that out, go ahead and take a look in the previous episodes. Let's see. I have no update on my Nectuidae sweater. I haven't even touched it again. So that's a month now that it's been sitting here beside me, that it hasn't even seen the light of day. That's okay. I planned it to be, well, first of all, I planned it to be done by Tuesday, but you know, that's not going to happen. Then I planned 6 months. Now I'm calling it my 2023 sweater. So if I get it done this year, bonus, that'll be the thing. I haven't worked on or even started the Stephen West fragmentation shawl. I've got all my yarns together in my Be By Designs bag, but yeah, not even touched it yet. And that's okay. I was working on these Whip Mountain things. So that's kind of in the standby column, right? So that brings me to finished objects. Yay, yay, yay. So you'll recall that my Wild Bee socks that were up here in Whip Mountain had that royal blue heel and toe, and I ripped that out because I just was not happy about it, and finished it in just the one color of yarn. So I'm just gonna, which finger has the smoothest rings on it? So there's the pattern on the front of the sock, kind of the wild bees. This is a Curious Handmade, pattern by Helen Stewart. And this was part of the, was it the, Wild Bee Socks. This was part of the Handmade Sock Society 4. I made almost every pattern in that sock society. So it's the third design in that. Anyway, I knit these. Oh, and yes, I have a finished pair of socks. So finished these up late this week. Got them off the needles and reblocked the first one and blocked the second. I knit these, excuse me, out of Songbird Fibre 80/20 Superwash, fingering in the American Kestrel colorway. Yeah. Do I have any left? Yeah, I have a little teeny bit left with a T-pin stuck in it. All right. So that's a little bit washed out there. That's a little bit better. So it's got beautiful grays and yellows and saffrons and ivories in it. Oh, it's just gorgeous. And a little bit of kind of, I don't know what I would call it, like a smoky blue. Yeah. Really, really nice. So again, Songbird Fibres, Songbird Yarn and Fibres, that's in Stratford, Ontario. Indie dyer, amazing indie dyer that I love. I have, I've talked about her often. She calls herself an indie dyer who is also a bird nerd. So if you go to her website, songbirdfibres.ca, you can see so that's the owls. Look at that, a Parliament of Owls colorway. Look at that. Yeah, so what I really super love about Songbird Fibres is that every time you purchase from her, she supports bird conservation. Birds Canada receives a $2 donation for every bird-inspired skein that you purchase. So, where birds meet yarn. Look at this Northern Cardinal colorway. Wow, isn't that something else? The other thing that I really, really love, and I personally haven't tried it quite yet, is it the Lovebirds? Yeah, the Lovebirds connection. Is it? Yeah. So she does these sets called the Lovebirds, and it's the male and the female colorway of the birds. So for example, you've got the cardinals, right? So the male is the bright red, of course, and the female is the browner color. And then if you look at, look at the colorway. Look at that. So you see that top skein's got a little bit of the brown in it, so it's more the female side. Isn't that something else? So she's got a few in there. So check her out. I'll link her below again, songbirdfibres.ca. Amazing dyer. I really, really love love her yarn. So I'm super, super happy to have finished these. And like I said last time we chatted, I might keep these for me. Just because, I don't know. We'll see. They might end up in the 12 months of socks for mom, or they might just end up in my sock drawer. I'm not sure yet. So stay tuned for that. Anyway. Okay, so that's FO number 1. FO number 2. They're still wet. So I just brought them in. So the vanilla is the new black socks. Again, a Songbird Fibres yarn, which I'll tell you about in a second. So I did finish them. I decided not to rip them out, even though I was concerned about the heel, and truth be told, I'm super glad I didn't rip them out. A lot of you said, don't rip them out, just do it, because, you know, it's like a secret heel, right? One of those secret little designs that you love. So yeah, these are still super wet. They're big. For whatever reason, I don't know what I was thinking. I think I've talked about this before. Cast on 74 stitches. I don't need 74 stitches. So these are going to be house socks, right? Because they're big, they're slouched, they're going to be slouchy. So really they're going to be my sitting and knitting socks, or, you know, something like that. So look at that beautiful bright. Oh, it's just so nice, right? So this pattern, the vanilla is the new black. If you haven't checked this out, go check it out. It is the coolest construction of a heel that I've done. What I like about this heel is that there's no heel flap and gusset, obviously. You do it all on your circular. So I didn't have to pick up any stitches, that kind of thing. I'm not going to tell you too much about it because it is a paid for pattern. $6 US. She's got a sport weight and DK weight version of the pattern. She also has a toe up version of the pattern. But the one thing that before I get into the yarn, the one thing that I am fascinated about with this pattern, so you can kind of see the heel here, right? So let me just take it off the blocker. Oh, it's so damp still. Right, so there's the heel detail. You can see, right, there you go. Okay, so there's this, but what you can, oh damn, my ring is stuck in my knitting. What you can do, oh, look at that, I didn't weave in my ends, bad knitter. What you can do is, they're reversible. You can turn them inside out and wear them with the purl side, or the wrong side showing, right? And you still get the detail of the heel. Look at that. So they're reversible socks, as long as you weave in your ends. What was I thinking? I was all excited. Anyway, so I'm super happy that I finished them. These ones will stay with me to be house socks. Anne, A-N-N-E-H, Anne Fletcher. Vanilla is the new black socks. So again, as I mentioned, Songbird Fibre Yarns, 80/20 Superwash. This is in the Golden Finch colorway. Pardon me. Let me see if I can find. So I have this much left. Well, yeah, it's not a really good representation, But this yarn has, let's see, yellow, green, lime, dark blue, light blue, red, pink, white, or beige. Did I say red? Orange. There's a little bit of burgundy in there. Yeah, whew, it's something else. So let's take a look. Goldane Finch. Okay, so here's my picture. Okay, so yeah, second from the top. That's the colorway. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. And you can get a really better idea of that colorway if you just pop on over to her, to the Songbird Fibres website. So that's another FO. Really, really happy about that one as well. And I'm so glad I finished them. I'm always glad when I finish, right? So anyway, that's another Whip Mountain project finish. So, and then the final thing that, that I wrapped up was my knit that I did for Jody of the Grocery Girls. She had me knit up the Ranunculous, so that's finished. There's a pic of that. That got sent back out to Alberta last week. And I knit this out of Frankie gray fibers, sock, and mohair. So I talked about this and all the details about that last time we were together. So there's kind of a close-up. That's what I had left over of the Frankie gray fibers yarn. So you can see that mohair, how pink it is with the silvery gray. And then that is the fabric that I got when it came together. Just beautiful. So very happy to have had that finished, and looking forward to having Jody's feedback on that. So that's it for my finished objects. So 2 pairs of socks and the Ranunculous. So let's dig into Whip Mountain again. So I was digging through the baskets, and I came across this crocheted, like gigantic crocheted granny square. So I think I'm going to take this. There's ends to weave in, of course, you know. I think what I'm going to do is just find some yarn in a complementary color in my stash, knit a solid back, and just make up a pillow. That's what I'm going to do with that, because, you know, you can always use a big pillow, right? I'm going to keep this out because I want to dig into this stash over here and see what I've got. So there's that. And then I have pieces of projects in Whip Mountain, which I'm actually now going to call You Should Be Ashamed of Yourself projects. And I'll show you why. Well, I guess I got into, I mean, I love knitted dishcloths. So every once in a while, when mine are getting yucky, I'll pull out my cotton and I'll knit up some. So I have this dishcloth that's done, except guess what? I didn't weave in the ends. Seriously, I'm so ashamed of myself. So I'll be weaving these ends in today, and then I have myself a nice new dishcloth. And I'm not even going to count this as a project off of Whip Mountain because, yeah, there's nothing more to say. And then I found this project here, this scarf that I knit. And it's done. And there's no ends to weave in. But it was in Whip Mountain, and I think the only reason that it was there is because I had to block it. Look at this. So it's got some texture. And I don't even know if this is in my project. Like, I don't know if I have a project for it. Let me just do a really quick scan. I suspect this is Songbird Fibres. Yeah, I don't see a project page for it. So I suspect it's Songbird Fibres. So I'm going to block this out, and we can talk about it next time. But then I came across these 6 knitted squares here. So let me just go back here. 1, 2, 3. Sometime in 2015, well, I'm not going to say sometime in 2015. In 2015, I decided with my knitting BFF Lyanne that we were going to knit this this Afghan called The Year of the Afghan Nature's Scenery by Maggie Fangman. And it was 1 block a month, obviously, the year of the Afghan, right? And let's see. Nature's scenery will be included, scenes from nature that shall be defined by beautiful cables, creating aspects of trees that pop on a reverse stockinette background. I got as far as June. So, so here's January, fir trees and things like that. I'm knitting this in Fisherman's Wool. Let me just reach back, sorry. That's why I have all of this, I think. This Lion Brands Fisherman's Wool. I have a ton of it, and I couldn't remember why I had it. So that was January. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. February. I don't know if you can see that one. It's got some sort of a bird on it. March. See, there's a river here and a tree. Yeah. This will be easier to see because it's got some texture. April with the trees and the flowers popping up from the ground. May, tree in bloom. Yeah. And finally, June. Yeah, it's hard to see this one. There you go. So I've got all the yarn, six more squares to go. I'm going to finish this one. This really will go with the decor in my home. I'm going to finish this one up. Certainly not by the next time I podcast, but this is back on my needles. So that is, excuse me, the Year of the Afghan Nature Scenery overview. Let me just go to overview here. Yeah, so lots of people have finished it. I'm not one of them. So stay tuned for more information on that. Let's see, what's next? Yes, so my LYS, Natural Ewe Yarns, is holding their next knit-along. So you may recall that previously I talked to you about the Year of Adventurous Knitting that my LYS is hosting. So the first project that we did at the beginning of the year was that beautiful shawl, coffee break shawl. And then the next project that we are working on, we had a choice of 3 patterns. And I chose the Aster Tee by Megan, I'm gonna butcher this name, Nodeker. So I'll just give you a quick wee look at that. So this project uses minis, and that's kind of why it's in the Year of Adventurous Knitting. So there is the top where you use the minis, and then it's short sleeved with, yeah, isn't that cute? So I have gone ahead and purchased, sorry, I thought I had the picture still up here. For my main color, I am using Natural You in gray fingering. That's not a bad representation. So this is hand dyed. Do I still have it up here? Shop. There we go. Pure and Simple fingering, and that is the Morning Fog colorway. So yeah, Morning Fog colorway, 100% merino, 400 meters per hank. Yeah, and then for the color work, I am using, I need more hands, these, in no particular order. Yeah, purples. Now, I know in the past I've said that purple is not my thing, but I think that these will go amazing with that Morning Fog gray. So that knit along starts in April, beginning of April. So stay tuned for updates on that. I will share those with you as I have them available. And then I found a pattern that, oh, I love, and I have stashed for it. So I don't know if you saw this, the Smilga shawl. Look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? It's got that beautiful color detail, although you can do it in, you know, whatever you want. So Smilga is a, oh, sorry, this is a pattern by Isang Knits. Smilga is a word in Latvian for bent grass, also known as creeping bent grass, or creeping bent, a thin grass with a long stalk and a generous top of delicate blooming panicles full of tiny seeds. It inspired me to create a texture of long cables culminating in a colorful bauble formation along the edge of the shawl. So this is a paid for pattern. So I'm going to do it in fingering weight. So 875 for the main, 875 meters for the main color, and 50 and 60 meters for the bauble section. You can also do it in lace weight held double. So I'll be planning for this, putting together my project bag for this, and we'll give updates as I have them. Yeah, really looking forward to that. So that's kind of the update of the finished objects, the works in progress, those kinds of things. We're going to pause now, and I'm going to insert the Power of Sticks and Strings episode with Dr. Shona Johnston, and I'll be back with you after that. Stay tuned and enjoy.
There we go. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of The Power of Sticks and Strings. It is my utmost pleasure to be welcoming my first guest, Dr. Shona Johnston. Dr. Johnston is a ICF certified coach and is the creator, or the head bottle washer, if you will, of the Dr. Johnston coaching. So jump right in, Shona, and tell us about yourself.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on, and it's just lovely to be here. So my name is Dr. Shona Johnston, as you said. I am actually a paediatrician by background, that's my background, and I have recently trained as an ICF-qualified coach. And so what I do is I coach overwhelmed healthcare professionals around mainly topics around their well-being. So that is what I do at the moment. And I'm also a bereaved mum. And that is really important to me as well.
Right. Excellent. So I guess, what we're going to talk about today, Shona, is about grief and how we use knitting or, really any type of crafting. But for most of us, knitting or crocheting or those kinds of things. Yep. To help us through those transitions in our life. So you having had experience with this, I would love for you to share, as much of your story as you're comfortable sharing, and how you've woven in the ability to craft through that to help you through those trying times.
Yeah, so my little girl, Gail, very sadly died just before she was born in 2016. So she would have been nearly 7 now. So she was stillborn at full term, and we didn't find any cause for her death. And it was a really, truly devastating time, a really major bereavement for us. And I had been working as a doctor, and in the UK, where we lived at the time, I was very lucky that I was able to take a full year's maternity leave, and that was time to grieve her death. And perhaps about 3 months or something after she died, I was really, really struggling still, and well, unsurprisingly, really, that I was still struggling then. And my husband actually suggested that perhaps I might want to learn something new. Maybe I might want to learn to knit, was his suggestion. And I knew how to knit, so I had learned to knit in school. I grew up in Shetland, and we had knitting classes at school, but I never really warmed to it then. I was only able to knit and purl, and we had to queue up to the teacher to do anything else for us, any other stitches. So I thought, well, I'll see how it goes. So I signed up for a class. I went to 2 evening classes, and I found that my hands knew how to knit again. I needed some reminding, but I was able to do it, and it gave my hands some purpose, gave my hands something to do at a time when I should have had a baby in my arms, and I didn't have her. So I was able to knit, and so the first thing I actually knitted was I knitted a hat for Gail, for my little girl who died. And that was really special for me, because I didn't have very many clothes that were specifically for her, because we had an older daughter as well. And so this hat was just Gail's. It was her hat, and I keep it still in her memory box. And then I went on to learn some new skills in knitting, and that's one of the things I love about it, is that you can learn new skills on top of the skills you have. And I found that there's a baby loss charity in the UK called SANS, and they donate blankets for babies who have died, and they have a pattern online, and so I knitted a blanket for SANS, and just kind of in the knowledge that that Gail had one of these blankets. She was wrapped up in a blanket when she died, and then I was able to then pass that on to another family, doing knitting that blanket, and so that was a really special thing for me to knit as one of the first kind of things that I did.
That's lovely. So can you expand a bit on, being able to, I don't want to say fall back into it, but you almost had that muscle memory, if you will, right? Of, after so many years picking up the needles again, that even through your grief, you still could remember exactly what to do.
Yeah, I think it really was like that. And I just needed a bit of prompting really in the class. And I think my hands just kind of knew what to do.
Right.
Certainly with knitting and purling, I've learned other things as I've gone along. But I think you're absolutely right about that muscle memory thing.
Yeah, that's kind of magic, isn't it? That, once we know how to do something, it doesn't matter how long it's been since we've done it. There is still that, it's not like that first time that you learn, is it? It's, you almost have a little step up in
Yeah,
it,
absolutely.
right? Yeah. So your story is just so, to me, so heartbreaking, but so beautiful at the same time, in that, you were able to not only find some solace in just the act of sitting and knitting for a while, but that you were able to also then contribute to the charity that helped you. So can you talk about that experience?
Yeah, so I guess it was a sort of thing that I knew I needed to do, and a sort of random act of kindness, I guess, or something that I needed to be able to give back. And I had no idea how to knit lace at that time, so I had to learn to knit lace. And it took a while. It wasn't quick like I can knit now, but it was really, really special. And then I have gone on to one of my friends who also very sadly had a little baby boy who died. She does an auction every couple of years in his memory, and that money is donated again to baby loss charities. And I knit where I can for that auction. And that again is also a really special thing to be able to donate to, because I feel like I'm doing it for Gail, and I'm doing it for Callum, and I'm doing it for all these other babies as well.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. So, when we've talked before, you've mentioned how, in your coaching, you also sometimes have the ability to share this type of craft with perhaps some of your clients. How does that work?
So I haven't had anybody do any knitting with me so far on coaching calls, but I would be more than happy if they wanted to. And actually, on my next course that I'm doing, I've actually specifically put on the advert that people are welcome to bring out their knitting if they want to, because I know that sometimes people, if they're listening in to a course or a conference or something, sometimes it helps their brain to get more information if they're using their hands. And some people it doesn't work like that. Their brains work differently. But I know certainly for some people it helps them to concentrate more.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I know sometimes when I'm sitting in front of the TV, my husband will say, "You're not even watching." I said, "No, but I'm listening," right? and I know every word of the movie or the show. But it kind of makes it fun when I'm actually watching a program that I've perhaps seen before, but not actually looked at it. It's like the first time I've seen the show, right? It's magical. But so can you share with us, how do you feel? I mean, as a doctor, I think you have a unique perspective. You've maybe got a little bit of, a better understanding of how that mind-body kind of connection thing works. Could you explain, or even just anecdotally share, how do you feel that, you know, picking up needles and some wool and sitting quietly can, I mean, aside from turning off the brain, how can it help you navigate these difficult times?
That's a great question. So I think it's something to do with how mindful knitting is, and how it's something that you either can really, really concentrate on, and you're just concentrating on the knitting itself, or you can be doing the knitting if it's an easy stockinette stitch or something, and have other things going on around about you, and you're able to think at the same time as that stitch. You're able to process things. I think it's also ideal for listening to music at the same time, which is a really good thing for getting out tears and grief as well. And I've spent a lot of time sitting on the sofa knitting and thinking, and just I suppose thinking about Gail, but also thinking my way through all of that grief.
Right. I know sometimes, and you know, maybe you can speak to this as well. Sometimes if I'm sitting, you know, I don't know that I'm actually quote unquote thinking about anything, but there's a whole lot going on in the background. And, you know, if there is a problem that I'm working through, or even if it's something like if I'm designing a pattern or something, I'm not actually thinking like out front about it, if that makes sense. And then all of a sudden, after a nice long session with my needles, I get up and there it is. There's the clarity right there, even though I don't actually recall thinking about what I was thinking about.
So it's like it's something going on in your subconscious, and that it's just ticking away in there, and having that time to then come to fruition. And I think that the time when you're crafting gives you that space, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does, doesn't it? Yeah. Your story is beautiful, even in its sadness. I think that you bring a very unique perspective to the craft that we all love, because it does give you pause to flow and to heal, I think, just in being quiet and being gentle with yourself, giving yourself that grace to just be in whatever you're in at the time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that comes back to that mindful aspect of it.
Right.
And just the doing of it, and the thoughts are there, but you're not necessarily conscious of them. And the feeling of the needles together, and your hands knowing what they're doing, and creating something beautiful at the same time, and something which might either be for you, which is a lovely act of self-compassion, or it might be for a friend, or as an act of kindness for somebody else. And I think it's just lovely being able to make things for people, and beautiful.
Isn't it? Yeah, I agree with you there. So tell me about your coaching. If people were interested in chatting with you about the work that you do, what kind of coaching do you do?
So I do coaching mainly for healthcare professionals. And so at the moment in the UK, and I'm sure throughout the world, really, there's been a massive burden on healthcare professionals, on their mental health, and many who are burnt out or struggling with their well-being. So many of the healthcare professionals I see have some kind of issue around well-being, and also other kind of human things like procrastination or perfectionism. So I coach around many different things around that, and I love it. I really enjoy seeing people. I like listening to them. I like them. I love the way that coaching is able to let them figure out what is going on for them and to figure out what their next steps are forward. And it's really empowering tool, I think.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that we intrinsically have the answers within, but we just sometimes need somebody to guide us to them?
Yeah, I really believe. So unless you're sick, unless you're unwell,
Right.
I believe that everybody has within them all the resources they need, and it sometimes is just a matter of somebody listening really well, or asking the right question, or giving a bit of accountability, and that person is then empowered to do whatever it is they want to do, and to know that they make the right decisions for them. And one of the other things about coaching for healthcare professionals is that very often in healthcare, people love to give advice, people love to give suggestions about what they've done in the past and what worked for them. And coaching is a bit different to that, because it lets the person themselves decide.
For sure. Yeah, that's excellent. So where can people find you?
So my website is www.drshonajonstoncoaching.com.
Perfect. And I'll link that for sure.
Thanks. And all my contacts are on the website.
Is it? Okay, perfect. So that's the best place for them to reach you. Excellent. Well, this has been lovely. I thank you so much for sharing your story, because I really firmly and truly believe that, we're all in this together, and, what you have experienced, other people have experienced, but maybe they just need to hear somebody else say what you shared, right? And when we can share of ourselves with the world, it's perfect. It's what we should do.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Excellent. So we'll wrap up this episode, and I thank you again, and stay tuned for upcoming episodes in the next number of months. Take good care.
Hi there, welcome back. I hope that you enjoyed that chat with Dr. Shona Johnston. Such an inspiring story, and really, really cements, for me anyway, one of the reasons why we knit, and how we can really use this beautiful craft that we have taken up as a means of self-care, as a means of healing. So if you have stories to share, please let me know. Comment below, send me an email, drop me a DM over on Instagram. I would love to hear your story, and perhaps even have you share it with the 3 a.m. Knitter audience. So I look forward to hearing from you, and hope you enjoyed that segment. So next, we're going to talk about my faves this time around. I have a couple. So just a little while ago, I told you about the upcoming knit along that my LYS is doing. And I am knitting the Aster Tee, and that is by, that is by the lovely, and I've already forgotten, Andrea, I want to say Megan Nodecker. So Megan has a website called pipandpin.ca, pipandpin.ca. And she is a Canadian designer. So, me and my Canadian designers and things like that. She's out in Abbotsford, BC. And when I purchased the pattern for the knit along, I purchased it from her website. And I did that because when you join up for her newsletter, you get a wee bit of a discount off the pattern. So that was super helpful. But what I came across on her website is that she has some classes that are intriguing me and that I might like to delve into, because I am an aspiring knitwear designer. And I'll talk to you about the pattern that I have out right now, but I would really like to improve my skill set in pattern design and things like that. And so she offers some online classes, and also on-demand workshops, live online classes rather. So right now, her on-demand workshops, she has a couple. She has Idea to Pattern workshop, and she has Marketing for Designers. That's kind of cool too. But the Idea to Pattern workshop, really, here it is here, Idea to Pattern, intrigues me. It's an 8-week workshop that walks through the steps of a knitted pattern design, including in-depth talks on sketching and swatching, grading and yardage, formatting and layout, working with tech editors and test knitters, and much more. So I've been a test knitter for a long time, or a commission knitter, but I've never been on the other side of it. So that, you know, I'm interested to learn about that. You work with us through the class week by week, or go at your own pace. It's up to you. So it's currently closed because a session just started, but when it reopens, that might be something that I consider, because I am really super excited to learn more about how to make good patterns, and how to make sure that they're tech edited properly, and how to get them out there and things like that. So to that end, you'll notice in the show notes of this episode and of all the previous episodes that I've put a coupon code and a link to Ravelry. So I have designed and published my first sock pattern, and the pattern is called the Peace Pilgrim Socks. So, sorry, I'm just opening it up here. So here it is here. So it's got a very muted peace symbol on the front of the sock. You can see I used Kroy FX for these ones. These were, of course, one of the pairs of socks that went to my mother, right? So life is a mirror, smile at it and it smiles back at you, Peace Pilgrim. So from the story behind the Peace Pilgrim is from 1953 until 81, a silver-haired woman calling herself only Peace Pilgrim walked more than 25,000 miles on a personal pilgrimage for peace. Wearing a blue tunic and carrying just a few worldly possessions in her pockets, she shared her simple but profound message in thousands of communities throughout the US. When enough of us find inner peace, our institutions will become peaceful and there will be no more occasion for war. So, you know, my comment to that is that the story of Mildred Listman Norman, who is the Peace Pilgrim, has fascinated me from the moment I discovered it. Her important message has lived on long past her physical life. May you find and share peace while on your own journey. So this is my first pattern. I have it on Ravelry for sale for $5 Canadian, but if you use the coupon code shown down in the show notes, you get a little bit of a discount because you're subscribers to the podcast. So it's just my thank you to you. I would love for you to knit these up if you're so called to do so, and let me know. So it's a classic construction. It is top down with a heel flap and gusset. It has a very simple to read chart or written instructions for the peace motif on the front, and you can choose to put that peace motif on the front or on the front and the back, or even just on the back if that's your thing. So that's the Peace Pilgrim Socks, designed by me, and you can find that on Ravelry. So that's one of my favorite things. So next, I wanted to, and I've already kind of touched on this, I wanted to talk to you about my my LYS. They have just launched their new line of yarns called the Boreal Collection. Now, I know that says coming March 1st, but obviously it's launched. So this is a beautiful, beautiful collection. Now, Natural You should tell you something about the way that they dye. All natural dyeing. They use things from nature to get their dyes. So here's just an example of some of the colorways. This one right here is my favorite. This is called Caribou, and it's kind of peachy and browns and just a really warm beigey taupe color. Oh, so yeah. So these skeins are about 420 yards, 115 grams in fingering. That's the weight that I like, fingering. There's a lot of beautiful, beautiful colorways here. Here's another one, oak moss. Oh, so nice. So if you're called to check out a beautiful natural dyer, check out my LYS, Natural Ewe Yarns. They not only have that new collection, but they have tons of other colorways and lots of different weights of yarns. So do check them out, and I'll link them below, of course. And then finally, for my my faves today, I want to share with you a lovely, lovely woman that I met at my knit night a couple of knit nights ago here in Pictou, Nova Scotia, Denise Lynch. Denise Lynch is a ceramist and a potter, and her work is phenomenal. So you can find her at martinceramic.ca. That's Denise right there. Right? She does some gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous work. So, just there's an example there. You could, I'll link her website below, and you can go and check out on your own. But recently, she put a collection of her mugs in a local. I'm sorry, I'm losing my words. In a local gallery here in Pictou, Nova Scotia called the River Gallery. And when I looked at the pictures, there was, see, there's some of the mugs. There was one mug that I went, oh, good Lord, I need to go buy that. So I don't know. Let me see if I can make this bigger. There. Look at that. Wouldn't that just be the perfect tea mug? It's got that beautiful blue inside. Oh, so there was that one that I was just enamored with. And, oh, there it is. And then this one too. Look at that, eh? So I'm going to have to head down to the gallery, take a look at these up close, and make my pick. So I'll share that with you on the next episode, which one I ultimately chose. She ships all over, so check out her website. And if you there's nothing better than a cup of tea in a handmade mug, don't you think? I think so. So that's it for my faves this time around. I hope that you've enjoyed them. And now we have come to the time to share our Knitter's Oracle reading. So let me just grab the cards. There we go. I've got them all here. Give them a shuffle. Let's see what we come up with today. Split the deck in half and pull the top card. Today we have the Swift and Winder. The Swift and Winder. All right. Let's look that one up. 35. Oops. Come on, Anne. There. Oh, no, that's not it. Yes, it is. The Swift and Winder. The Swift and Winder are crucial tools along the knitter's journey. They take yarn from its hank form into a usable ball. This card represents a similar process of transformation and progress. It's all about taking the necessary steps, putting one foot in front of the other, and doing what has to be done in order to grow and change and improve and ultimately get where you need to go. The Swift and Winder. Similar process of transformation and progress, taking the necessary steps, putting one foot in front of the other and doing what has to be done. That's my journey with Whip Mountain right there, right? So, you know, it does, you know, taking progress. I'm picking one thing or two things at a time out. And just like the top I'm wearing today, I'm getting them done, right? I'm putting one foot in front of the other and getting them done. I like that. Huh. What are you doing in your knitting journey or in any journey to put one foot in front of the other to get things done? Give that some thought. Share your insights if you're called to do so. So friends, that's it for this episode of the 3 a.m. Knitter podcast. I hope that you have enjoyed it, and I do look forward to chatting with you in a couple of weeks. Keep knitting. Take good care. Bye now.